Okay guys, we're at our new location. So today we're at a place called the Shady Lane Manor. And the building's tore down now, but the original building was built in 1854, and it used to be a Civil War hospital. Then after the Civil War, they turned it into a poorhouse. And it was a poorhouse way up until like the 1900s. Then it became an insane asylum. Then right before they decided to tear, well, I think it was abandoned for a long time too, but before they basically closed it down, it was like a home for senior citizens. So I'll kind of show you around. But this is more or less the location of it. And it originally set on 300 acres. Because I know there's a graveyard back here, because this is like one of the most haunted places in Ohio. Basically, I think they even wrote a book about it. But they actually, you know, they tore down the building. We're actually, the building was sitting right here because we're definitely in the parking lot. So they tore the building down about 10 years ago, I think. But I talked to the guy because they have like a dog kennel beside here. And he said that the markers for the graveyard had just been, they were wood and they rotted away. That he said it's out there somewhere. But I got permission to be on this property, and his property over there, they actually locked the gate. He said I could go there and walk around when he was here, but I don't think, unless we find something cool, we probably won't come back. So, and you can see the grass is kind of hard, so it's going to be a little hard to metal detect. I figured just to go around some of these old trees back in here. But I've never been here before, so I had no idea what we were coming out here to even see. I've never even been to this little town that's down the street. But it's a pretty cool place. But they have a trespassing sign out there on his gate. He said it wasn't for what I thought it was. I thought it was for YouTubers. Because this, like I said, this at one time was the most haunted place in Ohio. So I thought that's why the trespassing sign. That's why I came back and asked him, and he said it wasn't. It was just part of them, because there's a gate out here. So I'm going to go down and probably park over here somewhere by this pond. Then we'll come in here and search. But there's literally a pond down there. But I did go on Google Earth and go back and see when the building was sitting here. That's how I know it was tore down 10 years ago. And if I find a decent photo, or I can take a decent photo of it, I'll stick one here in the corner of this video. Then you guys can see what it looked like when the building was here. And for those who don't know what a poorhouse is back in the 1800s, you know, they didn't have like welfare or any kind of social services. And they basically punished people. So basically, if you were poor, look at them deer going across there. But if you was poor, they would send you to these poorhouses. And that's why there was a graveyard here, because if you passed away while you was here, they would just bury you out there and just mark you by a number. But there's a couple other places I know that were poorhouses that I was trying to track down, but they're all tore down like this one. I don't even know how they tore this one down. I mean, this had so much history because of being a Civil War hospital, but they tore it down. So we'll get in here and search in here. We'll have to move the truck, because this here I can metal detect in this. But it's a pretty big place. And the property that we got permission for is, I mean, it's like the middle part. Basically, it's the part that we're standing on. And I just called them, and they said they didn't care. That they, like I said, this property, they were going to build a school here. And they just ain't got the money. And they built a school down the street. So basically this property, the guy at the dog kennel, he said they were supposed to be moving too. So who knows? Like I told him, you never know out here, because on the way out here I noticed there's a lot of big houses. And hell, one day this might be a housing development. Then the people will be on the internet. Because like I said, I'll put a lot of the information in the video description. But this, like I said, this is like one of the most haunted places in Ohio. And you can imagine how many people had died here. And it's just out in the middle of nowhere, man. It's just like you're driving along. I was surprised where it's at, but like I said, maybe that's why it was out here like this. But it's just like out in the middle of nowhere. Well, I'll get back to you guys. We'll probably start, like I said, I'm going to have to move the truck down there somewhere. So we'll probably start in there and check. And we're not on a search for that graveyard because that guy's leaving at noon. And I'm not, I mean, he said if he was here, well, it's like 9:30 now, but unless I decide to come back tomorrow, we're not going to find that graveyard because I'm not going to walk 2 miles up into those woods or in those fields. So I'll get back to you guys as soon as I get onto a good signal. It's pretty high around here, so I'm kind of going around these trees to where I can get in here and lay the coil down. I don't know, you guys probably can't see, but it's pretty, there's a lot of brush in here. So far, all I've dug is 2 light bulbs. But I'm not getting a lot of signals either, so. But like I said, the place was built in 1854. But like I said, most of it's just the grass is so high. I mean, it probably hasn't been mowed in 10 years. So I'm more or less just trying to go to the spots I can get my coil down. And that's why I like these big trees, because like I said, back in the day, you know, maybe this is a tree everybody had their lunch around. And that's what I'm looking for. Plus it dates all the way back to the Civil War. I mean, I could find some plates or something. Because this signal here ain't that great. Huh. I'm having a hell of a time finding one. Maybe that's it right there. Just some kind of metal plate. Let's go over with the coil again. I'm sure that was it. Well, I'll get back to you guys as soon as I get on to the next one. Okay, guys. So I'm basically over here. I know where that building was set. Well, this tree that I'm in front of is probably the biggest tree over here. But it's real heavy. There's a bunch of brush in here. So I kind of, you know, knocked my way back in because I don't have anything to cut anything down. Honestly, I was planning to just be doing it in the grass. Then I get over by this tree and I get this killer signal, and here we got, it's a silver ring, a big old silver ring. It looks like it's old. Hope you guys can see it. I mean, it's silver. I can tell it's silver. And it's just old. Well, like I said, who knows how old it is. Pretty cool, though. That's a little smaller on my finger. But I'll clean it up when I get home, find out exactly. I'm positive it's silver because I've dug enough of them. I'm positive it's a silver ring. Been nice if it was gold. But I can tell with the signal, if it was gold, it would come in as a low, it would like chirp a little bit. It wouldn't be like this. See how that's banging? That's telling you it's silver. So I'll get back. Like I said, I'm gonna probably just stick around in this tree. I mean, it's real hard in here, but I mean, after I found this, and this is obviously old, I'm gonna stick around in here, then we'll move on, because it's a huge place. It's just there's nowhere to put a coil down because the grass is, like I said, the grass has probably never been mowed. And it's not, you know, you can, like, it's probably at least, I mean, it's, you actually sink down into it. And if you get a reading, it's usually like a can on the surface. But in here, that's the only signal I got since I've been in here. But I'll get back to you guys as soon as I get onto another one. Okay, guys, this is what I'm thinking. So this walkway here comes down. And if you look at that map that I showed you earlier, you can see it in there. But it's weird because all this back here is all fenced in. But what I'm thinking is, I was reading and they said there was like a real old gazebo. And if you look at that photo there, it looks like there's something in the center of it. And I think that's what this fence was. So this fence, maybe when it was a senior citizen home, they could take the elderly out here and they just let them in here, then they would shut the gate so they wouldn't leave or whatever, you know what I mean? And I think that gazebo was in there, but I can't get in there, it's all locked. But it's just weird that it's, after all these years, I wonder why they just didn't tear the fence down. Well, I was talking to the guy up there at that dog kennel. He said there was a barn back here too, and they just tore it down here recently. But I'm trying, like I said, you can see how high the grass is. So I'm kind of going around the outside. I went around that tree more that I found that ring on, but I didn't come up with anything else. So we'll probably just hang out in here because it's starting to warm up. It was real cold this morning, but it's warming up now. So we might stick around here for a while. So I'll see you as soon as I get onto a good signal. Okay, guys, I'm onto a signal. But we actually moved. So we moved right down the street. So down the street, there's a little town called Kilbourn, and there used to be an old school sitting in this, where this park's at. So basically we moved, and it's a different day. We're actually on our second day. So far, I've just found a couple coins. But the graveyard's like right next door to us, so I'm kind of working my way down along this creek. But there's a church over beside where the school used to be, and there's a bell out there, so I'm assuming there used to be an old church back in here too. And that's probably the bell that's sitting out front. Huh, coin. Ah, come on, be an old one. If it's an old one, we're just on a grid this whole thing. And it is. So we got our first wheat penny. So we're just on a grid down through here. I had a feeling, but there's a lot of signals in there. There just ain't a lot of good signals. There's all kinds of trash signals. But, so we got us a wheat penny. That's why I don't give up, man. I just move. And this town's like, there's a lot of history. It used to be called Eden, I think. They used to be called another town, but I couldn't remember all the, because I think I researched it a long time ago. I never came here before. And I'm definitely gonna check, make sure that was it. But it felt like there was a knocker in there. That was it. So I'll get back to you guys as soon as I get onto another one. Okay guys, I'm onto another one. But I was on grid all the way up to the fence, but I'm just on a grid probably about 10 feet from the creek. See how that goes, because it's quite a bit of a I got a ways to go, plus there's a bunch of old trees down at the end of this. So I'll come, if I do good, then I'll come back down the other way. But I've been finding like lead, like melted lead too. There's a coin. That looks like it's just a modern quarter. I can't see what year it is. I'll check. Okay guys, I'll get back to you when I get it on to another one. Okay guys, we're calling it a day. So I'll kind of show you where we're at. So we were at the Civil War Hospital and we didn't have any luck. And I was there probably about 4 or 5 hours yesterday, and I went ahead and went home. Then I thought I was on it just delete the video. Then I decided, because I stopped and talked to someone and they were talking about where I'm at now. So then I decided to come back here, and today's Sunday. So we're back here on our second day, but we didn't really have that great of luck. So I'll kind of show you where we're at. So basically this is like the township building. Well, this is where the old school set. And over there's a church, and there's a bell out on the other side, and I'm pretty sure there used to be an old church in there too, but I didn't know. I mean, I know this is the park, but I don't know about over there, so I didn't actually go there and even do anything, because I knew today's Sunday. I figured some church people there. I mean, if I was over here yesterday, I might have zipped through that field a little bit, but I didn't, because I don't have permission to go in there. So basically this is the park. So where we were finding stuff was over there where that big tree is, down by the creek, and the graveyard's on the other side. That's why I thought we'd have like great luck here. I mean, there was a lot of signals that I didn't dig. I was just digging the really good signals, and then the weather, because it was like it rained. It's been raining and snowing and all kinds of stuff. It's just weird how the weather had changed so much, and it's supposed to be like up in the 50s today. So I don't know if it's gonna warm up later or what's up. But then when I decided to give up, I come through this field. So I won't go around a baseball diamond, because I don't want to tear it up, especially if they're actually using it. And when I was over this way yesterday, I seen some kids out here playing, so I wasn't gonna mess with that baseball diamond. Not saying I could dig plugs and put them back, but I just don't feel comfortable doing it. So basically when I came through, I walked through the biggest part of this field right here. So, and I got no signals. So all I did was like run a line all the way through the field up to the truck, and I didn't get one signal. So that's just telling me this is all push dirt. And I could tell, because I usually have a lot of luck where the fields are. So if there's a part, you always go to the edge where the fields is. If you see my videos, a lot of times I'll find like 1 or 2 silvers like around the edge. And I went down through there, and there was like a couple real deep cans in the ground. So that's telling me that's part of that push dirt. Then they just make it look flat, you know what I mean? Because it don't look real hilly other than where those trees are. And those trees there ain't that old. Those trees are probably 20 years old, probably. The older trees are over here. I still think there's stuff here. So I'm going to kind of go through the town, because there's some history here. Because I did the history on this town a long time ago. I just never came here. So I'm going to kind of drive around a little bit, scope it out. And if I find somewhere that looks pretty good, or I find some history, we'll probably come back. More than likely we'll probably come back here eventually, because I still think, because I didn't grid every inch of that. I just like did a small grid lines down through there, and I was getting signals. So I would like to come back. I don't know why there's so many signals over there. I figured someone had metal detected it. So this is what we found. So we dug not a lot of trash for 2 days. So like I said, we got at least 7 hours into this trip. Then we found some clad. All the clad was found here. Everything, all the coins were found right here. I didn't find any coins at the other place. I mean, actually, the only thing I found at the other place, I dug these 2 light bulbs. I dug that silver ring. And I found this. I thought it was pretty cool, because I think it's porcelain. Then it has the flowers on it. It's kind of eerie, because like I said, that place we were at, it's like one of the most haunted places in Ohio. And I actually stuck around. That dude had left at noon. And I walked around quite a bit while I was there, just, because I couldn't metal detect because the grass was so high. But I did walk around and see if I could see something cool. But that's kind of cool. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it's made out of porcelain, but I think it's like a part to a headboard or something, like the round part on both the headboards. That's the only thing I can think of. I'll probably just set it upstairs. My mom will take it, because it is cool. I mean, it's got that artwork and stuff on it. I mean, it's a pretty cool find, trust me. When I seen it, I thought it was a Christmas ornament. That's why I picked it up. And Then, like I said, here we dug 2 Wheaties. I found that key, I found that clad, and I found this weird bullet here. At first I thought it was like the end of an arrow, but I'm pretty sure it's a bullet. Just awkward looking. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, we might come back here because I'm pretty sure there's more stuff over there. I was hoping to get onto at least one silver, but the park itself over this way, there ain't nothing. I wouldn't even mess with it. But down there by that creek, and it runs back up in there further, but they drug a bunch of old fence back there, and I was digging a ton of like bolts, or well, it wasn't like I was getting them out of the ground because they were so big I'd find them and I just filled them back in, and they're like good. But like I said, I know what the numbers were. It ain't like I'd come and dig them again. But I mean, it's a pretty nice town though, and it's got a lot of history. And like I said, it used to be called something else. I think it was called Edna or something, Ednan or something like that. I'm not positive about that because like I said, I didn't do anything, check out the history or anything yesterday, because I already planned on coming here anyways. Actually, the history that I learned, I stopped in this little store over here to get something to drink, and they had it on a billboard there. That's how I knew all this stuff was here. And there was actually a little map in there and a little like newspaper articles and stuff, and that's how I learned some of it. That's why I came back, and I didn't want to give up the video. But if you look at that thumbnail, that is that old hospital. I mean, so that's how they tore it down. I mean, I didn't know for sure, but because it was like $1 million something. The article that I read, it said it was like $1.5 million to fix it up, but that place was like totally historical. I've even found some older maps and it was on there, and it's just weird they tore it down. But if you look at that thumbnail, you see why. So they basically just neglected it, and there's like a little school beside it. So they just never mowed the grass or anything, and it just took over. The trees and shit overgrowed on it. Then it was easier for them to tear it down. But you can look at it and tell how old it is. And I mean, yeah, they painted it white or whatever, but I'm telling you, that was a historical place. And plus it had a lot to do with the Civil War. I mean, it was such a big deal when they were tearing it down that the Dispatch had an article in the paper about it. But that's why they tore it down, because they could prove it by the photo. If you look at the photo, I don't know how it actually works. I don't know if they can condemn it and be allowed to tear it down, but I just bad to me. I mean, and I think there's stuff there. I mean, I'll probably keep an eye on it because I don't live around here. I'm about 40 minutes from here, but I'll keep an eye on it. If they mow that grass, I'll come back, because I think there's probably a lot of stuff there. And you guys think because it was a poorhouse, but you got to think all the people that worked there. Then during the Civil War, and I knew that graveyard, and the guy I was talking to yesterday said it's possible there's people buried all over it, and he's right. Because this graveyard over here, this is part of the town, even though it's not that far. I mean, it's like right down the street. They wouldn't bury people over, because like I said, if you were poor back then, they more or less punished you. That was more like a jail, more or less. So if they, if you were vagrant, they seen you on the street, like how we have all these homeless people and people begging on the corners, they would just pick them up and take them to one of those poorhouses, and that's where they would live. And I'm sure it was on 300 acres, and this is in 1800, so I'm sure they had to farm it. So they actually had to work while they were there, because they probably grow their own food, raise their own cattle, because it was on 300 acres. But it's pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.
One evening as the sun went down, the jungle fires were burning. Down the track came a hobo hummer. He said, "Boys, I'm not returning. Headed for a land that's far away, beside the crystal fountain. I see you all this coming fall at the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain."